Is this my path to freedom? I guess this is my life now. Welcome to Artsplained, the show where I explain art. My name is Michelle, and yes, this is the future. In the future, everything is chrome. So much has changed since we last saw each other. I was finally able to escape the realm of suffering, and now I'm here, somewhere. For today's explaining, we will celebrate the 2077th inauguration of Baron Trump by discussing some of the artistic merits of his predecessor's best-selling work, The Art of the Deal. Certainly, we don't often delve into literature, but it is election time, so 'tis the season. As we all know, Trump is very well versed in literature. He often finishes sentences with ease. He didn't even write the book, but hey, it's got his name on it. And even his picture. Look at that. Just as good. The Art of the Deal was published in 1987 as a, quote, common sense guide to personal finance, unquote. Before even turning to the front page, the book warns, in practical advice books, as in life, there are no guarantees, and readers are cautioned to rely on their own judgment about their individual circumstances and to act accordingly. So, if you learn absolutely nothing from this book, or if you gain no actual success following it, it must be your fault. You idiot. Publishers Weekly described it as boastful, boyishly disarming, thoroughly engaging personal history. While People magazine's review is mixed, it did note that the book had moments of fascination for the reader. Years later, in July 2016, Trump described The Art of the Deal as his second favorite book of all time, under the Bible.
My second favorite book of all time. What's my first favorite book? The Bible!
Following this, and many other contentious details in his life that I will not mention, for I do not have the time, public perception of his book waned greatly. In an article published in the AV Club in October 2016, Nathan Rabin, former head writer at the AV Club, wrote, "The two books Donald Trump's The Art of the Deal remind me of most are Bret Easton Ellis's American Psycho and O.J. Simpson's If I Did It. Trump is an empty shell of a human being, a man devoid of self-reflection, candor, vulnerability, humility, and perspective." There are even many references to Trump and how Patrick Bateman idolizes him in American Psycho. But we won't talk about the context of that and just say, cool, he's referenced in a book that people like, so it must be a good thing, I guess. In a video by Vanity Fair, published in November 2017, Timothy O'Brien, executive editor of Bloomberg, can be seen saying,
"I feel dumber for having held this book in my hands."
Even Tony Schwartz, the ghostwriter behind The Art of the Deal, has revealed regret about his work as seen in a New Yorker article published in July 2016. He is quoted saying, "I genuinely believe that if Trump wins and gets the nuclear codes, there is an excellent possibility it will lead to the end of civilization. As someone from the future, I can guarantee that this is completely untrue. Everything is perfect in the future. Poor people are an excellent source of fuel and have completely replaced fossil fuels. And a peace treaty has been signed with global warming and North Korea, and they are both valuable allies to the great Baron Trump. Every Sunday is now a day of Fortnite, and everyone was required by law to watch Baron stream Fortnite on Twitch with other government officials for at least 10 hours. So this is it, huh? This is what I left the realm of suffering for? It's actually pretty neat here. There are so many things to do in the future. So let's finally move forward and discuss what on earth could make this book art. First, let's take a look at it visually. Look at that kerning. I just want to stick myself in between these pages and feel all warm and cozy inside. For once. Second, the cover art. You know what they say, always judge a book by its cover, or my name isn't Richard Nixon. There are two versions, one with a grown T-Money and one with a young and devilishly handsome icon that started it all. We'll take a look at the original. First, look at the color of the letters, solid gold. Donald was a self-starter and worked hard for everything he earned. His wealth, represented by the gold color, shows a potential reader how seriously this book should be taken. Frequently, the Bible uses gold on the cover and on the pages for the same reason. Gold equals wealth, which comes from hard work, and if you have wealth, you're better, more important, and smarter than everyone else, especially you. The font is chunky, bold, strong, and delicious. You can almost taste it. The photo brandished on the cover is beautifully outlined in gold, reiterating the gold motif. Notice the look on Trump's face. What you see is not a toothy grin, but a smirk. A smug and smoldering look as he towers over the trees in the sky like a god. Anything more than a smirk would not be earned. A simple passerby or someone glancing at the cover is not worthy to gaze upon Trump's gloriously pearly whites and a reflection of true happiness. Those idiots haven't even read it yet, and once they do, maybe, just maybe, they'll be happy for once in their life. Trump looks beautiful, vibrant, and youthful, just like Dorian Gray. Dorian Gray stayed young and beautiful, and nothing bad ever happened to him. Just like the glorious author, again, I would know, I'm from the future. Now, let's dive a little deeper. Here's an excerpt that sets the tone early on. I don't do it for the money. I've got enough. Much more than I'll ever need. I do it to do it. Deals are my art form. Get it? Here's the deal. The deal is the art, and art is good. Trump doesn't care about you or about anything other than bamboozling nitwits into a good scam. I mean deal. When it comes to the storytelling, Trump will weave a beautiful tapestry in your mind with his wondrous prose. Here's a particularly good one. Wynn is very slick and smooth, but he's also a very strange guy. A couple of weeks ago, he called and said, "Donald, I just wanted to let you know that my wife and I are getting divorced." So I said, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Steve." He said, "Oh, don't be sorry, it's great. We're still in love. It's just that we don't want to be married anymore. In fact, she's right here with me. Do you want to say hello?" I politely declined. Love is certainly a beautiful thing. If any of you know who this weirdo Wynn might be, or how we can get in touch with him, let us know. I just hope that everything worked out with him and his wife. I hate cliffhangers. Trump discusses a moment he shared with a friend who is a highly successful and very well-known painter, and who he describes as totally unpretentious. In his book, Trump discusses a moment he shared with a friend who is a highly successful and very well-known painter, and who he describes as totally unpretentious. A few months back, he invited me to come to his studio. We were standing around talking when all of a sudden he said to me, "Do you want to see me earn $25,000 before lunch?" "Sure," I said, having no idea what he meant. He picked up a large open bucket of paint and splashed some on a piece of canvas stretched on the floor. Then he picked up another bucket containing a different color and splashed some of that on the canvas. He did this 4 times, and it took him perhaps 2 minutes. When he was done, he turned to me and said, "Well, that's it. I've just earned $25,000. Let's go to lunch." He was smiling, but he was also absolutely serious. His point was that plenty of collectors wouldn't know the difference between his 2-minute art and the paintings he really cares about. They were just interested in buying his name. I've always felt that a lot of modern art is a con, and that the most successful painters are often better salesmen and promoters than they are artists. I sometimes wonder what would happen if collectors knew what I knew about my friend's work that afternoon. The art world is so ridiculous that the revelation might even make his paintings more valuable. Not that my friend is about to risk finding out. It's good to see that Trump is such an art connoisseur just like us. This makes our beautiful baby boy that much more relatable. I love the telling as opposed to showing. That's like F. Scott Fitzgerald level storytelling, baby. Generalizing the success of all modern artists isn't reductionist, it's secretly brilliant. Clearly, he is not just using anecdotal evidence from his clown artist friend and assuming that most of it works this way, and this is just one of the many examples and studies that we're not seeing. I would recommend you check it out at your local library. But of course, as we all know, libraries haven't existed for decades, thanks to the government cutting off spending for frivolous, worthless public institutions. Well, I would like to offer a helpful quote from Arthur Danto, art critic of the nation, who said this in an interview with the New York Times. "You can't say something's art or not art anymore. That's all finished. There used to be a time when you could pick out something perceptually the way you can recognize, say, tulips or giraffes. But the way things have evolved, art can look like anything, so you can't tell by looking. Criteria like the critic's good eye no longer apply." I mean, if a urinal can be art, why can't Trump's self-help book? You, my dear, deserve to be in a museum. Well, that certainly was a weird and crazy ride, though certainly not as crazy as when Trump consumed Ivanka and Melania Trump on live television to celebrate the end of his first decade in office. I hope you voted. Don't lie to me. It's the future. I already know whether you did or not. Thanks so much for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to watch out for our next fun-filled artsplaining. Yeah, I'll be. There is an idea of Donald Trump, some kind of abstraction. But there is no real Trump, only an entity, something illusory. And though he can hide his cold gaze, and you can shake his hand and feel flesh gripping yours, and maybe you can even sense your lifestyles are probably comparable, he is simply not there.